Yeah, hi Shireen. Shireen, you are saying that you can record the session, and after the session, we can discuss for 15 to 20 minutes. We will discuss about the question and answers, and I will answer about your technical as well as your business queries also. Yeah, shall we start? Okay, fine. So I was telling about myself. So I am also working as a technical architect with different blockchain alliance. Till now, approx I have supported and consult 30 plus blockchain alliance over the global regions, and also I work approx 8 to 10 blockchain frameworks. I am also contributing in Hyperledger Fabric, multi-chain, as well as in Ethereum also. I deliver approx 70 plus ICOs, STOs, 20 plus cryptocurrency exchanges, and 15 plus MVPs and MVPs over enterprise solutions as different business solutions. Yeah, Shivika. So, so today's agenda will be like what is Hyperledger and why we need Hyperledger, how it works, and what are the Hyperledger products in the market. And we will talk about in details in as in technical depth also. Like what's the key components of Hyperledger, how from where we can learn as per like I am a blockchain developer or architect, how I can utilize Hyperledger in the minimal time and how I can learn Hyperledger Fabric, especially and how I can make our own some sort of MVP or POC on enterprise solutions. So this agenda will cover in this solution. So as you know, where they are basically two types of blockchain. One is permissionless and one is permission. So mostly all are aware of blockchain. What is blockchain? So basically, you can say that in the layman term, blockchain is a some sort of like a database in which you can't delete the things, you can't delete the data. So it's quite different from database. Basically it's a ledger. So basically I will talk about the what is the difference between the ledger and database. So in database you can store everything, like you can store the files, you can store the metadata, you can store videos, you can store anything in the specific database. But coming to the ledger is only for recording the transactions. Like in local terms or layman terms, we usually call ledger as bahi khata of munim. So the munim's bahi khata relevance to the ledger, in which the entry being fixed, that the entry can't be that entry can't be deleted, and it can't be manipulated also. So for that, so you can say that blockchain is is a kind of database in which you can't delete or you can't update the data. So there are two types of blockchain. One is permissionless and one is permission. So coming to permissionless means these are the public network in which anyone can join in that and and can retrieve the informations that is in a scripted form. Now coming to permission blockchain, why we need permission? Like all the things being going right, why we need permission blockchain? So for permission blockchain is quite like for making the privacy, for holding the privacy in the business to business use case. Like suppose I am talking about the bank, I am a bank, I need some sort of, I want to keep my information as in secure form. So I don't want to retrieve that information to the other market. So I will make a permission blockchain, and in that I will choose some peers, I will manage that with firewalls, I will manage with smart contracts. I will write I will write business logic in form of a smart contract and make a channel in that. So the best and major example is for permission blockchain is Hyperledger. So basically coming to the blockchain technologies, there are multiple benefits. If we are talking about the if so basically we said why we need blockchain, because before blockchain all the things are being also running in the market. Yes, you can see that in banks are centralized one, so we still trust on banks. So why we need blockchain basically? So basically the need is blockchains to make the trust and eliminate the third parties. So basically blockchain is only named as trust. So the blockchain is creating trust between the two or three or n number of parties who are anonymous, and bringing them on a single page. So this is the best, and this is the best scenario of the blockchain, using blockchain. So that's make immutable transaction history, that makes the transactions transparent. And obviously, coming to the smart contracts are basically, these are the these are the business logics that we need to implement in form of code. So you can say that these are the programs, these are the algorithms, or these are the some sort of business logics that we have to that we are writing on our specific use case. So coming to Hyperledger. So Hyperledger, as all you know, like till now it's being started. It's till now approx 4 years being passed for Hyperledger. It's initially started in 2015. It start from zero point 0.6, then it start from 0.5, then 0.6, then 1.0, then 1.1, 1.2, and there are multiple versions in 1.2. Then now it's 2.0 Alpine. So we will discuss what's the difference, how it start from 0.5 to 2.0. What are the differences? What they overcomes that situations, and what are the bottlenecks in that? So I will talk about from 0.5. It starts from 0.5, in that there are only three things. All the SDK was provided for only in Golang. It starts from initialization, query, and deploy. So the simple logic was related to initialization, the smart contracts. We prefer chain code here, not smart contracts. So it starts from initialization, then querying, then deploy. So these are the basics. And coming to the consensus mechanism, it starts basically initially from PBFT. So then it's being modulated. The core is PBFT, then it's being transferred to this ordering service in that, in which is being complied to the solo, then solo for development phase. Then is comes to the for multiple hosting. Initially in 1.0 start for with the help of Docker Swarm, then it's switched to Kafka in Hyperledger 1.2. Kafka and Zookeeper comes to the market, and obviously after that crash fault tolerance comes to the existence, means that's the Raft. So basically implementing Raft, the basic advantage of Raft is, if suppose there is a master node, there are a number of nodes. The main reason why we need Raft in that, suppose there are a number of, suppose we are choosing 5 nodes are there, and one is master node. Anyhow, the first one master node being crashed or deprecated or it being stopped, and transactions are being still continuing going on. So that it will took time to again stabilize that node. But in the mid of time, some sort of transactions being missed, it's happened. So for that, it Raft overcomes that thing. So in that, the benefit of Raft, the other node who is acting as a node, it could be changed to the master node, and take all the authorities of that pre-existing master node that being deprecated or false. So this is the best. This is the you can say that this is the advantage of implementing Raft. So now coming to the, so that I told, like it's being hosted by Linux Foundation, and Linux is maintaining approx 60 plus open source projects. One more like in Hyperledger community, many of the other projects are being carried out. Like Besu is there. Obviously, Sawtooth is also in frame, and there are a number of projects being carried out in Hyperledger umbrella. So basically, it's open source, and building the team, building the communities, and making the strongs, and also many of the contributors are being contributing in that open source enterprise grade solution. So basically, I will talk about that. This is the approach for Hyperledger Besu is there, Burrow is there, Fabric, obviously, as you all know. Indie is in also trending in the market for decentralized entity. So basically, the use of the indies in market is going to be hype, because for decentralized identity, the concept is quite relevant. Self-sovereign identity, like in US SSN number is there, in India we have Aadhaar card that being interlinked to the PAN card as well as our bank's accounts. So this is ND is one of the major role for self-sovereign identity concepts. In Hyperledger Fabric, you can, in coming to thing like first questions come, like in Hyperledger Fabric, can't we make our own decentralized identity concept? Yes, we can do in Hyperledger Fabric also. In Hyperledger Fabric from 1.4 onwards, there is one term, there is one binary comes in the fabric named as ident mix. In that you can make our own decentralized identity with the help of MSPs. So this is, you can make our own certificates that comes into X.509 certificates. Under that ident mix comes for the same concept. Now there are other libraries like Hyperledger Ursa is there, Erase is there, Quilt is there. So these are some libraries that boost, that make the solution rigid in terms of encryption, cryptographic monopolies. So these are some Hyperledger frameworks on which the enterprise solutions being deployed and creating. So basically, what are the basic business requirements for blockchain? So it keeps maintains the privacy, it handles the trust, it shared ledgers, and it's obviously the smart contracts as well as the chain code. So now we will talk about that. I talk about like what is the problem statement, why we need blockchain. They are, suppose in this there are a number of peers. Like here we have 6 peers: customer A, merchant A, banks, auditors, regulators, records. All are in that. If I'm talking about the person, if there is a person who is going all that, or who is going to for having the buildings, bank records, insurers, regulators, he used to send his records or documents to each of the node for verifying and manipulating for that, for avoiding, and it results expensive, vulnerable, and inefficient, and duplicacy obviously. So how this blockchain can solve this resolve? There will be a one blockchain ledger, and that will be a shared to all the nodes with the help of with the help of some permissions that being implemented in that. With the help of that specific user, he will allow that private key to that all the nodes. From that they can fetch the details with the permission of that user. So it involves consensus, it involves immutability, it involves provenance, and finality, sorry. So basically we'll talk about consensus. So consensus is the what consensus is nothing but it's you can say that it's a agreement between two anonymous parties. So suppose I am one customer A, another is customer merchant A. So we are anonymous to each other, so we are going to trade with among each other. So there will be a consensus, means on some there are some conditions, rules and regulations will be there on which we will both will get agree. So these are consensus are the agreements. So basically now coming to that, what Hyperledger is not. Hyperledger is not a cryptocurrency. Hyperledger is not a blockchain. Basically, Hyperledger is not a company. So basically, Hyperledger is only an umbrella. It provides the many of the front use cases in that, in which you can implement your enterprise solutions as per your needs. So we can say that in a simple terms, Hyperledger is a thought of that software which everyone can create its own personalized blockchain service. So it being used by the developers for basically it's you can say that it's a kind of software that being used by developers as per their needs for the different industry domains. There you can utilize and in next we will discuss how it can be utilized in different industries. If I'm talking about how it works, so it's quite complex, but I will talk about in the layman term. Like suppose there are two users, Alice and Bob. Alice wants to send a message transaction to Bob with the help of Hyperledger Fabric. So there will be SDK from which it being fetched. Then that application will query that application will query, and that query will be received to the Bob's address on the network. Then there will be a membership services and certain authority who will check the transaction and validate that memberships with the help of X.509 certificates. Then Hyperledger network connects both the parties and affiliated with the deals and provide a certificate. Both will get the certificates, and both parties certificates being verified and validated with the help of that consensus mechanism. And Bob receive the transactions, and Alice get a message in the form of proposals that in the proposal response that the transaction being committed to the ledger. So basically, I will talk about the components of the Hyperledger fabric. So one main component is peer. So basically, what is peer? Peers are nothing. Peers, you can say that peers are nothing, but in a layman terms, peer are the nodes who are being connected in that network. In a permission network, I will talk about a permission network. Suppose in a layman, I will tell how the permission blockchain comes. So, and what are the queries, what are the bottlenecks in permission blockchain. Suppose there are four nodes A, B, C, D, all are jewelers, and two A and B are doing some transactions in, suppose they are purchasing and selling gold of 10 grams of 25,000 rupees. Now B and C, B and A are doing the transaction. Now C and D are unaware of that transactions in that network, because A and B made their own private blockchain and doing the transaction. And from C and D, they are taking and giving the gold in 30 or $35,000. So this is the basic advantage of that permission blockchain. So peers are the nodes that are being connected in that permission blockchain. In Hyperledger fabrics, they are endorsers, they are committers, and they are anchor peers, and leader peers are also there. So basically, what are those peers? What actually those peers do? Endorsers are those peers who endorse the transactions, means who simulate the transaction over the ledger. Committers are those peers who verify the transactions before confirming the transaction over the ledger. Now the second thing, the main important thing is what state means. What state means? Ledger, where the whole data being stored in of that Hyperledger blockchain, that of that solution that you are using. So they are basically in what state. There are two types of database. One is level DB, one is cows DB. So level DB is for, you can say that level DB is for storing the metadata in form of small units. But coming to the cows DB is for storing a bulk, it's store the rich queries as well as the whole data, that in form of, mostly in form of JSON. We just put in form of it get request in form of JSON. So now smart contracts. So in Hyperledger fabric, we usually use the term named as chain code. So I previously told about that chain code. So chain code is the business logic that can be written in different languages and programming languages. In when Hyperledger 0.6 was there, it supports only Go SDK. After that, when Hyperledger 1.0 comes, then Node.js supports Node.js, and Go SDK comes. And when Hyperledger 1.2 comes, then Java, and also right now Python SDK is also there. So now coming to the consensus mechanism of the Hyperledger fabric, it's a quite an interesting and complex thing also. Mostly people get confused what's the consensus mechanism of the Hyperledger fabric. So it could be to get answers like mostly people say so there are multiple answers for Hyperledger fabric consensus. So basically, it starts initially. The core of Hyperledger fabric consensus is BFT, Byzantine fault tolerance. It initially starts, then and it's converted. It took a enhanced feature named as PBFT, Practical Byzantine fault tolerance. After that, it being failed due to some sort of it was unable to hold multiple transactions in bulk basically. So it fails, and for multiple hosts basically. So it fails, and comes after that comes in ordering peers. There are two types basically. Basically, one is for solo and one is for Kafka, and one is Raft. Solo is for basically for development phase, in which we use single host, and for taking for that production we usually use Kafka. And Kafka, at least three peers will be there for doing some transactions. And Raft, at it based on crash fault tolerance, it's CFT. Now, and membership service also plays important roles for validating and verifying the certificates, that enrollment certificates, TLR certificates, PKI structures, as well as X.509 certificates that we provide to all the peers, all the nodes who is being who is being enrolled in that network. So certificate authority, CA are nothing. These are the peers. CA is certificate authority basically, who act as a regulator. Because if I'm talking about a permission blockchain, then anyhow, it's not a totally decentralized or distributed. It's a centralized one, because somehow any of one have to take care of that network. Like, there will be someone who should be responsible to allow the nodes, who can check the malicious nodes, who can take care, who can assign the nodes, who can verify the transactions. Because if I'm talking about the certificate authority, so it's possible, like, although certificate authority can be malicious also. So for that, consensus comes to the market for validating and verification with the help of membership services. Now, all these five modules make, when integrated among each other and did their functionalities, they made a robust enterprise solutions, as and called as dApps. So there are multiple SDKs are there. Java SDKs are there, Node.js SDK is there, Go SDK is there, Python SDK is there. For that, as per the developer hands-on, it can be utilized in that, for developing their solution. So I will talk about that more in about the peers, like committers. What are committers? Committers are basically like, they validate transactions in the ledgers. And endorser, again, endorser, I previously told, it's emulator transactions. It brings the transaction over the ledger. Either it's being failed, or like malicious or fake. It checks at that time of endorsement. And now consenters are responsible for consensus mechanism that has to be rolled on each of the node peers. And this is a basically, key features, like is private and permission one. MSPs are there. Consensus is, the best advantage, the basic advantage of Hyperledger Fabric is, like, it's a pluggable, and it can be modulated as per your need. What you want, you can achieve with the help of Hyperledger Fabric. So basically, still the transaction rate, the throughput and latency rate is quite low. It's not among that you can't do millions of billions transactions per second on Hyperledger. Although in any of the blockchain you can't do on that. So this is somewhat, like bottleneck still now we are facing for blockchain. Coming to other features, privacy and confidentiality is there. Private access models as well as private data collections are there for that. Anyone can't see the details of the other nodes, although he is in permission on that private network also. He can't see the details of that specific peer. Uh, Efficient processing is there. Transaction execution is separated from other commitments, and workloads also different. Chain code functionality, yeah, obviously you can write your business logic as per your needs in different entire channels and different programming language. So orders and peers and certificate authority. So I already explained and give an overview about that, like how the certificate authority works, And what are the peers? Peers are simple peers are the nodes who are being involved in that network for doing the transaction or updating or querying or the validating the transaction in that permission network. So now the come parts, the major part is also named as channels. So what do you mean by channels? So channels are basically, you can say that these are the gateways, these are the communication bridge between one node to another node on which the transaction being flowed. So they are like, suppose if I'm talking about channels, there for single peer there could be a single channel, there for multiple transaction there could be a single channel. It depends how you can manage. If suppose there's millions or billion transactions, so quite to quite to manage uh, single channel for a single peer for single transaction, it's quite impossible to manage for that. Although it could load the whole network. So for that, private access models, private data collections are there. For that, you can utilize a single channel for multiple transactions in a flow, and you can manage with the help of gossip protocol. So basically I will talk what is gossip protocol. So in a layman term, suppose there are 50 women are there, and one is enemy of 51. Like there are 50 women are there, so in a room, one has envy of 51th. So one passes message to a second one, like what she wore, like what's the sari of that. It's quite old fashioned or some sort of. He just do some sort of envy of that, and just misplace. He just and that message being passed to the second woman, and now it's a surety that message will be passed from second to 50th one. 50th woman will get the message that first woman passed. But no one knows how the transaction will be flow. That second woman can pass the message to 24th one, then 24th to 50th, then 24th to 15, 15 to 14. No one knows. But the transactions, the message from the first woman is executed, but no one can deny, and no one can stop that message. This is the advantage of gossip protocol. On that concept, it's that is being named as gossip. So this is a this basic deployment model. About if I'm talking about a use case, it could be of XYZ use case. So there's one orderer, there's certive authority, they are peers, they are REST APIs. If you want to integrate some sort of external integration, like IoT devices, Arduino, or some sort of different like loopback, or and any of Watson services, you can integrate with that. Hyperledger, coming to Hyperledger Fabric, there will be an initial application layer, and then there will be a programming layer in which you will create events, like put a state or write a state in that smart contracts, and on that it being circulated over the ledger, and transactions and the blocks being generated according to their transactions throughputs, how it being carried out. So, and coming to the gossip protocols, there are multiple roles, grpcs there, protobufs are there. So these are the some enhancement that helps for gossip protocols for peer-to-peer communications. Coming to the development tools, specifically for development tools, initially there, when Hyperledger 1.2 was there, Hyperledger Composer was there. But I would not say, I would say yes, Composer is a not Composer. Hyperledger Composer was not a appropriate approach for development, for especially for blockchain developers who wants to learn more and more in depth in terms of technical knowledge approach. So Composer, from my point, Composer was not a appropriate approach for that, because in Composer you can't write chain code efficiently. You just have to JSON format. You just have to JSON format in a form of TypeScripts. But right now for development tools, you can use directly IBM blockchain platform. In VS Code, you can use plugin in that. In VS Code, you can implement with there multiple plugins are there, like you can create a smart contract, you can write, you can package, you can export, you can also make a image or in Docker images, and that you can connect and you can test on that on your local machine without setting all the Docker images simultaneously on your machine. Now we'll talk about like what are the actors, components, interaction, and architecture. So like coming to the blockchain part, actors are blockchain, it could be a blockchain user, blockchain developers, blockchain regulator, means certificate authority, and like different data sources, like it could be a API, it could be a third existing data system, or IoT devices that are sharing their data to transferring their data over the blockchain. And coming to the components, so ledger is there. Ledger is basically on which the how the transaction being recorded, and smart contracts, the logic code, consensus, the agreements, membership, the certificates, events, the notifications and executions over the smart contracts. Manage system management, it's monitoring tools like Hyperledger Caliper works for latency, for checking latency rate and throughput of a single machine. Wallets, obviously, is all aware about the wallet, how wallet works in Corda or some sort of different blockchain frameworks like Ethereum or US. Now coming to the integration interaction, I previously told about SDK. So basically what's the role of SDK? It provides the communication peers from certificate authority with the help of grpc. So grpc, these are the protocols that connect your machine as your node to the blockchain part. So they are basically five modules in the how in Hyperledger Fabric works. First, installation, initialization, querying, invoke, and upgrade. So if I'm talking about upgrade is the additional facilities, like suppose if you want to migrate your solution from Hyperledger 1.4 to 2.0 or different framework to different version, so for that upgrade comes to the market. So basically this is the basic generic architecture. First, initially the blockchain developer codes the smart contracts or chain code. It deploy over the app with the server, and it's with the help of peers or SDK, it installs and instantiate over the network. And then the registered user, the peers who involves in that network, invokes and queries with the help of chain code, and that chain code emit an event and being circulate over the ledger. And from that circulate, either it's being faked or true, either it being fake or true or being succeed or fail, it being passed and get a message to and response back to that user, that registered user, that your transaction being done or fail, or as per your conditions that being written in smart chain code. So basically this is a small summary, like why we need blockchain. It save times, it increase trust. Obviously the other name of trust is blockchain. Obviously it reduce the trust, reduce the risk, and it obviously it's high, it's removes the cost. Like, and coming to the how in current scenario in blockchain technologies, in proof of concept, MVPs, and enterprise solutions, there are other frameworks like Quorum, Corda, Hyperledger, Ethereum, NXT multi-chain, and other frameworks are there on which the POCs and different enterprise solutions being working out. So if I'm talking about, we'll discuss in that, like for a specific use case, because it's quite typical to manage, because any is it's quite typical, as well as it has to be understand, there'll be a proper understanding of that use case. For that, according to that, you have to choose a specific use case. If I'm talking about, suppose I'm making a solution over the supply chain, but I go in hurry I usually go with Ethereum. But in that, I just feel that after a time, after 3 months or 4 months time, I made a solution, but I feel that I'm using Ether, which is a waste of time, and also it's cost effective. in that without ether it could be done with the help of Corda or Hyperledger Fabric. So it's also we have to take care about that for a specific use case we what framework we are going to use. So these are the three major blockchain technologies for permission blockchain, you can say, that usually works in market. One is also a quorum is also one of the currently scenario for permission blockchain. Is quite relevant to Hyperledger Fabric, but it also follows the same concept of Raft and Istanbul mechanism of Hyperledger. It has no tree, and right now here the major blockchain technology as implementation in different characteristics. You can see that in Ethereum and with respect to Hyperledger Fabric and Corda. So yeah, that I already told about, like how many years being launched for the Hyperledger Momentums. We have IBM has IBM delivered approx 5 to 7 MVPs with different big crocodiles in different industries. IBM worked with Walmart for food use case. IBM worked with Mux for supply chain logistics work. Right now, right now IBM and IBM right now, yesterday I was checking about that for coronavirus. There is also one use case being implementing right now, my pasa, because I care. So this is a basically many of is being is being carried out under WHO with IBM with Oracle and many of the is being open source, and many of the other companies are being contributing in that in terms of donation, in how funding, as well as in terms of money, as well as in development phase also. So yeah, this is a basic small brief about Hyperledger and its technical. So we will discuss about your technical discussions. We start for that, like if there is any query for your questions, we can answer, we can discuss. Anyone is everyone is open for your suggestion, and anyone we can discuss, like any queries.
Hey, this is Achud here.
Okay.
Yeah, I recently came across Hyperledger.
Okay.
I'm working in an artificial intelligence company.
Okay.
So we do document process automation.
Okay.
So we are planning to implement blockchain because it gives us more security with the existing product that we have.
Hmm.
So our product, what we do is that we collect all the documents and we do the intelligent process automation over it.
Hmm.
And we have large enterprises tied up with us,
Hmm.
and we would like to know if there is any way to implement Hyperledger and saving all the documents and giving specific access to the people who can access documents, and how we can connect Hyperledger Fabric to our platform.
Okay, so basically you are asking, you can utilize Hyperledger Fabric for document sharing very efficiently. You can get, if you want, you can check. There is one use case based on Hyperledger Fabric with IBM. That's based on for document sharing with in healthcare industries. Yeah, that's being that use from that you can get an idea. But I will give you idea in terms of business perspective. Like
Okay.
suppose, yeah, if I'm talking about healthcare industry, I will take an example for healthcare. I don't know
Okay.
about that for which specific use case what you want for.
Yeah, our product is a niche product, so we are not we are industry agnostic,
Yeah.
so we can deploy our solution to any industry. which
Okay.
relates to documents and
It's a kind of product, you know.
Okay, cool. Sounds cool.
yeah.
So if I'm talking about healthcare industry, suppose if suppose there's one node named as health, or there's one utilization for health. I'm talking about healthcare industries or banking domain. Any scenario you can take. Suppose if I'm talking about banks, I am a person. I am person. I am going to another one bank named as SDFC Bank.
Okay.
I am getting loan from that bank with the interest rate of 6.88% per annum rent.
Okay.
Okay, I'm getting loan from that. So now I submitted my documents. I submitted my all the documents and the verification being done, the process being carried out for a week.
Okay.
Now suppose another bank comes for Kotak Mahindra comes. That Kotak Mahindra is offering me the interest rate of 5%. Okay,
Hmm.
so now from SDFC I'm getting 6%, but now from my Kotak I am getting 5%. So I will go with Kotak.
Okay.
Because yeah. So but now again I have to submit the documents to that Kotak bank.
Hmm.
Again it will take 1 month, 1 week time for verification and validation. So instead of that, there is a specific blockchain. I am making a blockchain on which, if the specific bank SDFC is verified my documents, and that documents being uploaded over the blockchain and
Okay.
in the form of hash, that hash I can share with that specific other bank. And from that, because a high authority is there, SDFC bank is there,
Hmm.
they verified my documents.
Yeah.
So now my documents are being verified with another a higher authority, and for that we are sharing that I can share that link to Kotak Mahindra Bank, and from that it saves time, reduce the time for validation again and again, and
Mhm.
it could be access to again, and I will get access of loan instant. So
Okay.
this is a basic scenario. And for if you want same use case being implemented in healthcare, IBM, you can check, I will share the link for that. IBM blockchain, you can Google IBM blockchain healthcare POC. You will get on IBM website in terms of blockchain. There's a practical use case.
Okay.
There's application in
Hmm.
Node.js. There will be there's chain code you can utilize. You can check that, and you can from that you can get a clear idea.
Okay. 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 And one more thing is that I recently came across the Gossip Protocol from your presentation,
Hmm.
and I've also seen other Hyperledger project that they're doing. So one
Hmm.
of them was SIG. So I think it completely covers the telecom industry.
Hmm.
So I thought, I have an idea. I just wanted to share that,
Hmm.
we can eliminate cell phone towers,
Hmm.
and by introducing mini Wi-Fi poles everywhere around,
Hmm.
and using the Gossip protocol. Let's say in an economy we are transacting the now let's take Indian currency. If you are completely digitalized,
Hmm.
so we with the using Gossip protocol and the nearby poles, which acts as a node in the huge blockchain network. So once I do a transaction to another person, so will the Gossip protocol help to spread that addition of the block in the blockchain to everyone surrounding it?
Hmm.
And are you able to get my idea?
Yeah. Actually, for that, one another framework is there, but it's not a blockchain basically, named as Hashgraph. So
Okay.
Hashgraph is implementing the same concept, and they are working for telecom industries, and there's solutions for telco named as telco. And
Yeah.
I think they are working on that, and it's based on like reducing bandwidth for the
Uh-huh.
same.
Okay.
So yeah, and there's one also, I think there's one POC that's on open source. I can share to Kayur. From that you can collect that POC link. That's based on
Sure.
telecom roaming. That's on telecom roaming with
Okay.
blockchain, and reducing the bandwidth of the towers.
Okay. 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 That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
I think that's pretty much it, and I hope I can find you online to get know more if I have any doubts.
Yeah, sure. You can catch me on my LinkedIn profile. I'm sharing on that.
Yeah, please
So
share if you have any group like Telegram or WhatsApp. It would be better to get
uh,
communicated.
right now we can create on that. Meanwhile, we can share the link over the like
I think
over that group meetup.
I think you can share your profile in the chat itself, your LinkedIn link to your LinkedIn profile in the chat itself, so that we can connect with you now. And maybe later we can, have a rocket chat, as a form of forum.
Sure. We can make a Telegram or some sort of different group also. So this is my any other questions from your side? You can catch me on LinkedIn, Abhinav Garg. Coming to
Which
programming,
all
I previously told are there. What you have go with no specific language. So that's the beauty of Hyperledger. So that's the beauty of Hyperledger that it's not based on single programming language. If I'm talking about Hyperledger Sawtooth, it supports approx 8 to 10 programming language. You can write the code in C, you can write in C Sharp, you can write in C++, you can write in Python, and you can write in Node 11. So that's the beauty of Hyperledger.
yeah, it's a platform independent. You mean to say
Yeah,
platform independent,
yeah,
language independent.
yeah. Yeah, Lohit. Lohit.
Store files as large as
Lohit.
15 to 20 MB because I've tried in the past maybe a year ago and it was extremely slow. Even though it's running on a local system, it's taking a long time to complete the file. Some files weren't even being saved because it was
Yeah.
exceeding the timeout.
So basically, the I previously told it depends on like the throughput and latency rate is still low. Like in coming, if it and it also depends your internet connection as well as your machine. So how the transaction your machine is robust and how it's being rigid and how the transaction because it depends on machine also. Like for transaction taking the transactions because it will consumes your machine also power also for transaction and throughputing. So depends on your machine also.
But is it capable of handling, say, maybe three files of 10 MB each simultaneously?
No. 10 MB is quite large basically. So if I'm talking about that, if you and it better, you can use some sort of different things like a cloud or IPFS integration for sharing the files over the blockchain network instead of taking them directly over the blockchain. You can use storage, you can use Docker Swarm, you can use IPFS for that. So that will be better for from that you can fetch easily. You can fetch up to GB.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Uh, Kiran asked about
So,
that. Go on. Yeah, please.
sorry. So we need to focus any specific industry and travel in that area alone, I guess, right? So if I'm in manufacturing or if I'm telecom, I need to pick up any use cases and I have to because so it's all industry specific use cases that I can.
Yeah, agree. So you can depends, like there are multiple industries, like, and for every industries there is specific different requirements are there. So for that fulfilling is not, not talking about Hyperledger Fabric only. So might be Hyperledger Fabric is not capable for fulfilling that industry requirement, then it could be transferred to other requirements. Like if I'm talking about anti-money laundering, anti-money laundering is it's quite typical to develop a solution of anti-money laundering over Hyperledger Fabric because of the throughput and latency rate, because the transactions are many much high in anti-money laundering, because as well as KYC approval, the things there, because anti-money laundering is a combo package of KYC verification plus bank transactions, and also fetching the hot listed accounts who are transactions are much higher as per their transactions. So it's a combo package. For that, Quorum usually use in the market for anti-money laundering solution. Ethereum use, but coming to Hyperledger Fabric, we usually use for where the transaction rates are a little bit low, like the transactions being carried out 24, 25, or maybe 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 for every time. For that, we usually use Hyperledger Fabric or Sawtooth or different.
Hey, I have one more doubt.
Yeah.
So we said you said that a maximum of 10,000 transactions.
Hmm.
So is it possible many blockchains linked together as a tree to improve the.
So for that, basically the concepts are come. There are two types of chains. One is side chain and one is off chain. Side chain you can utilize as in terms of side chain. You can use different blockchains, obviously. But the things again, the networking part, the collaboration part of different blockchains, because it's quite typical to manage. If I'm talking about like credits or Ethereum or Quorum or multi-chain with the Hyperledger Fabric, if I'm going to merge that blockchain, like there's one another blockchain named as multi-chain and one is Hyperledger Fabric, I'm going to merge that blockchain on a single platform. So it's quite the networking part, that that you have to take care of that.
Okay, infrastructure, right?
Yeah,
Infrastructure.
yeah,
Okay.
obviously, because the concept is there, side chains, you can utilize the side chains.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Yeah. Any other question? Like Kiran asked, like I have problem start and running, it's being done. And Kiran Kondru asked, go on Node.js, which language should I learn now? So it depends on your expertise. I will, if you are saying if you are good in JavaScript, you can go with Node.js. And if you are good in like if you are backend developer, if you want to go in depth with like C or C++, then you can go with Go. But the basic advantage with going with Node.js is that as per business, as per like I will talk about in the generic one, Node.js developers are easier in market for getting Node.js developers as per Go developers, and Node.js developers are a little bit having lower rates also, and coming to Node.js, yeah, it's obviously you can make a front end and back end part both, so it's a basic advantage of using Node.js as a smart contract or chain code. That's from my side.
Yeah, there is a big debate on which programming language to choose, since it's a
Yeah,
language.
so
And also, this blockchain is completely rely on network,
yeah,
peer-to-peer kind of network.
yeah.
So, and the process, once the load is more, the
Mm.
performance might go down. It's better to choose a better programming language which is friendly with network and performance. I
Yeah.
recommend. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's again choice of individual.
Yeah, again, yeah, that's why I'm saying if you are good in JavaScript, you can go with Node. If you are good in C++ concept, then you can go with Go. Any other questions?
Yeah, one more. So how what type of partnership would be between blockchain and WebAssembly? How can we
Part.
use WebAssembly effectively in blockchain or vice versa?
So WebAssembly and blockchain both are different things. Like if I'm talking about WebAssembly, so like WebAssembly is a different programming language basically. So like for that you have to make some sort of third party, or third party you can utilize third parties from that, from because it totally based on binary code.
Yeah. So I thought we can take the implementation of Hyperledger and making it browser based blockchain, just like Nimic blockchain. What they do, they are completely browser based blockchain. They did it with Node.js, and
So
they are
for
doing it with Rust, with WebAssembly.
yeah. That's why I'm saying that for that you can try with Rust or C or C++. But you have to, but it's not for platform dependent. Like if you are saying about Hyperledger Fabric or Sawtooth, but you have to make a customized blockchain from core. You have own Genesis block. You will have your own Genesis block, your own target. It
Yeah.
depends on your. So I will say yes, you can go with the some scripts like Kryptonite or Cryptonote, or you can fork Bitcoin or Monero. It will be better because it's in C++ basically.
Okay. Okay. I thought I could, as a side project, I can take up a Hyperledger blockchain and make that same in WebAssembly and see how it works.
Mm. So, but the thing is that again, if I'm talking about WebAssembly, so it's complex basically. I don't think so. Hyperledger Fabric will support that binary code format for executable programs.
No, no, no. I was saying that we can use the Hyperledger Fabric implementation, and I mean like we can take the code and
As an application layer, you are saying that.
no, no, not exactly. The thing is that what if we could take all uh, the best working parts of Hyperledgers
Okay.
and move it, rewrite that in WebAssembly using Rust or
Okay.
something.
Okay. 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 You can go. You can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
How is it like you do consulting right now, or
I am unable to get your question. Could you
no,
repeat?
you do consulting to the firms or to the industry, or how is your day-to-day activities like? How do you grow with blockchain?
Okay, so basically, since from 2016, I'm in blockchain, and initially I work as an Hyperledger. Initially I work in a startup company. I was the only one in that company. I used to work late night, day night. So I work on different. Usually research initially. I work as a blockchain developer. I used to learn Solidity initially, then go working on that modules on different platforms. Then then I understand the basic requirements, then analyzing the things. As I work with service based company as well as product based company. From that I get an exposure of different things, because in product based company has different market strategy as comparison to service based company. Service company needs, like, they needs money, they are just focusing for the financial aids, because if there's any requirements, either it could be of gambling debt, of AIO or Tron, any XYZ of that should be related to blockchain, we can do it. So that's the main tagline of that is service based company. So from that I also get some sort of learnings or different frameworks. And after that, I being an blockchain architect, I also contribute in different alliance, as well as in terms of technical consulting. And because links and as well as the like seminars as well as webinars, and some sort of contributing in the core technical core technical parts. So you will get in you should get in touch in with different communities, from that you can you can just getting an approach for going ahead and ahead from that only. So this is basically starting from 2016 to till now in blockchain. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah, a lot of thank you. Yeah, a lot of companies trying to integrate this learning and AI part into the blockchain.
Hmm.
Mm, So, is there any specific roadmap that we can follow to get into some area in machine learning and then into blockchain? How can I integrate these two, and is there any roadmap to follow that?
So basically, coming to the other technologies. So basically, blockchain is quite blockchain has its own beauty. Blockchain is the basic beauty is like blockchain is the only technology. You can't say that it's a technology. Either you can't say it's a technology or it's a programming language. You can say that itself, because if you are talking about blockchain, you have to learn a different frameworks and programming skills. So if the beauty of blockchain is you can integrate blockchain with any of the other emerging technology. You can integrate AI, you can integrate IoT, you can integrate machine learning. So now if you are talking about machine learning, the main thing is that for first you have to analyze your business use case. What is your business use case? And second, obviously, what is your ROI? If you are putting some sort of investment in that use case, so what is the ROI if you are using blockchain with that solution? Because IBM initially, if I'm talking about IBM, as you know about the IBM fails in sorry, IBM fails in one of the use case that was carried out in blockchain, that was based on for supply chain, but for marine, for fish. And they are using they use RFIDs for tracing the fish. They initially start from ponds for track from that they again they make that situation more precise. Then they works with fisheries, fish lingers. Then they are tracking from the fish for each egg. So for each egg, they are providing some sort of RFID on each egg of that fish, and that make a cost efficient. And the use case that POC that get fails because investment is going getting higher and higher. So it depends. So it depends on the business use case on which specific you are putting. You can utilize your machine learning concept or AI concept with the blockchain. It depends. First you have to analyze the business use case. According to that, you can, it's because it's not mandatory that for each use case, for each blockchain, for each business use case, you have to use blockchain. Many of the use cases are also going ahead, going fast without blockchain. Also blockchain implementation is not mandatory that you have to fix blockchain in anyhow in that specific business use case. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, how is the job market for blockchain developer?
Okay, coming to the job market, as you know, right now the pandemic conditions due to the corona, so it's quite the economic as well as the all the things being shut down, locked down. And it's not about the India. Most of the countries, 80% of the countries are revenues, economic growth are being right now going to be down or still in down. Coming to the job market in India, big MNCs like Deloitte, Accenture, TCS, they have openings for internally. they have internal openings. They are not sharing their requirements, they are not sharing the jobs directly over the job portals, but they have internal jobs. Coming to the startup companies, yes, there are multiple startup companies. From for that you can get a better opportunity. If, but the thing is again, for the thing, the main concern is, right, for the blockchain, the company, the startup companies also need financial aid. So they also, if you are, they are providing a good package to you, so they also need some return of investment from your side also. So they want a person who is master in frameworks, in all of the frameworks, who are trending, like Hyperledger Fabric, Ethereum, or us. And you should be aware of about front end part, like you can make APIs, you can write chain code, and also you can manage the Docker DevOps part also for Hyperledger or for Ethereum also. So this is the basic requirements from a specific company, startup company, for what they want actually. So they are a startup in approx, I think approx 200 plus blockchain companies are there in a year being opened right now in this year 2019 years. 200 plus companies are there. Oxasis is there, Sophocles is there, Flexin is there, uh, Crypto is there, Script is there, and also big MNCs. Coming to big MNCs, there is no direct opening, so that's the basic disadvantage. And hopefully, let's see after this Corona crisis what happens. So no one knows, because everyone knows there will be recession for the job as per, because the economic growth as per like economic as well as financial growth all being laid down. The projects being mostly if you're talking about India, 80% of the clients of India are from UK and US. All US UK market is totally finished. You can say that's layoff. All the projects being are on hold. In big MNCs, I am talking about big MNCs, Accenture's projects for UK being hold, Deloitte projects being on hold. So SAP, as well as, it's not for blockchain but on other platforms also, like for SAP or some sort of AI or ML. So the because this is of the this situation, right, this pandemic situation for Corona, this gives a bad like negative impact for jobs also.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So what our company did is that we gathered all the 40,000 plus research documents based on uh, research document based on the COVID-19 researchers, and we created a search engine which can, you can just search through all the documents at once, and we have AI specifically trained for it. And I'm sharing the link in the chat, and if you have time, you can go check it out, and people let people know how they can help. So
Sure.
yeah, so I would like you to share this information as much as possible, and
Okay.
our platform is openly available to check it out.
Okay.
So uh, please share this information if you find it useful.
Sure.
Thank you.
We'll love to check that. Any other questions from anyone, or anyone wants to add something in that today's seminar or today's webinar?
Hi, this is Jose here. I just wanted to see how we can organize some more kind of a practical workshops kind of thing online. It would be more of useful session. Yeah, theory is good. Better
Yeah.
we understand the theory first, and then
Hmm.
we go for the practical session. So,
Yeah.
is there something like that kind of a plan on our roadmap? Is there anything that we can plan something like that?
Yeah, obviously we will start that, because right now we basically it's the first one basically in this year. It's the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
session.
yes.
It's a first session, and we start initially like just to recalling the things about the technical terms named as consensus, peers, and we go in depth about that concerned committing and endorsing peers, how the transaction flow works. So it's a first webinar, and most probably next month or before that we'll start some sort of working on POCs. We'll demonstrate that and we'll talk in depth. It's not for me that I will take care of that. It's also on you. You can share your views if you have any knowledge, if you have any queries like in terms of development or coding. We can discuss here only, and it's not for here only. You can ping me, you can message me, you can message in that group also. We'll create a group in which we will discuss the technical group, technical queries. We can
Yeah, sure.
discuss later on, and then we can go ahead on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I just created a Telegram group. I just pinned in the group as well. It's Hyperledger Associates.
Yeah, sure.
The good name.
So
And sorry, I just keep adding more things. So I think cognitiveClasses.ai from IBM has two foundational courses of blockchain Hyperledger.
yeah,
So people want to get involved and start learning, and they can check out the cognitive classes course. And I've done a 2 certification course from it, and I found it really helpful. So I think and they provide us with $1,200 credit for using Hyperledger. I mean IBM's Hyperledger cloud platform. So we can experiment with that also. I think that would be great. I'll share the link if I am able to.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. There is a Telegram group I just created.
Yeah, I saw it. We'll update in that also.
Just
Yeah.
Good afternoon, all. This is your host, Kyurupidal, for today. This was a great session with excellent and a lot of queries regarding the session. I also saw some queries regarding creating a common group that Vijay sir has created just right now. I suggest that please let me consult the Hyperledger executives, my seniors. I'll just consult them about this query of creating a Telegram channel. I'll revert back to you for sure. I'll try to share this information via mail, as well as all the details that we discussed today about all the resources, the PPT, as well as the recording of today's session. Also, I will also share the profile of Abhinav sir, today's speaker, on your email IDs as well, so you can follow up on him. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abhinav. Thank you so much, Kyo.
thank you
Thank
for
you, everyone.
organizing this wonderful session. Yeah, please. I just found this WhatsApp is a bit of have a lot of drawback compared to Telegram.
Telegram. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I just created a Telegram group. You can check with your executives so that we can have a better community going forward.
Sure, Vijay, sure. I'll definitely take that into consideration. It's just that I just need to update them about this request so that I don't prolong any kind of guidelines or something in the community. Also, as I've seen good response for today's webinar, next Sunday we're also planning a webinar that will be focused on Hyperledger use cases on the healthcare industry. As we all know, we are not going through a good time right now because of the corona pandemic. We'll discuss about how the students, as well as how the Hyperledger associates can contribute using Hyperledger Fabric and Hyperledger applications in the COVID-19 pandemic. There are a lot of stuff happening in Hyperledger right now, starting from cybersecurity to fake news and stuff. We'll all discuss about that in next Sunday as well. About the information will be updated to you on your email through the meetup group. I hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.